All right, hello everybody, and welcome to today's show. We, of course, as usual, are sponsored by Pugna, PVGNA, and Unicorn UNI KRN. We'll hear plenty more about them earlier, or not earlier because this is the beginning, later on in the show. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Teach Me Tuesday. I am your host, Ursinity, not B-Dub. She's MIA, but in her place, we have brought back, I was going to say Blast from the Past, but that makes you seem old. We brought back Leafy Peachy. Hello, Peach.
Hello, how you doing?
So Peach has been so kind as to save our skins because everybody's a bit tired from the LAN or B-Dub is just plain sick. So thankfully, Peach is here to update us on her Dota life. How's your Dota life improved or hopefully gotten worse since you stopped being a teachling of myself and proud? I just ideally for the show's sake, you should be like, oh, I dropped a couple thousand MMR. I did X, Y, and Z. But in reality, how's your Dota been going?
Well, I just finished a sweet Dazzle match that was successful. Changed my name to Obi-Wan Kenobi for the new Star Wars, coming out. New?
Well, is it new? It's been it's been out for
I know we just decided to do a stack that was Star Wars themed, so okay. So I did Obi-Wan Kenobi, but yeah, Dota's been pretty good. I haven't been able to play too much of it. I haven't been able to play as much as I would have liked because of getting ready for. Well, I didn't go to the minor, but I went to MagFest, which was the same weekend, and I went to the bar crawl. So I did get to see some Dota people. You were
adjacent.
Yeah, I was around.
Adjacent to the minor.
Yeah, and I was working on my Kigurumis and stuff. But yeah, Dota's been pretty good. I've been playing more carries lately, a little bit, for fun, but I do have a lot of red in there, so, but as long as you have fun, that's what matters, right?
At the end of the day, that is what's important, especially if you're playing in stacks, then you can be a bit more,
we have a Pangolier spammer in our stack, so.
Oh, so you must be winning all the time.
Yeah, well, when he plays.
I went through a solid, maybe week-long span where I saw Pangolier virtually every game, it felt like, and I've not seen that much of him in the last week, so I think I've lucked out. For a while, I was just banning him, because I was like, I just can't deal with this hero.
Yeah.
And then
just Bane, I think, right?
Yeah, Bane's good. I like Naga as a 4. She's quite good, because Ensnare also stops Pangolier ult, but on the other hand, if you're playing Naga 4, you're probably going to lose. So I was just picking Bane against it, but again, I suddenly it just disappeared from my games. I stopped seeing Dark Willow for a while. Today, actually, coincidentally, my last game was a Dark Willow off lane. But yeah, they've kind of fallen out of favor within the last couple weeks. Knock on wood, because Pangolier is really hard to deal with.
Yeah,
a good Pangolier, I should say.
Yeah,
a bad Pangolier is cake to deal with.
What about Dark Willow?
Easy.
To be honest, I haven't even played against her that much, other than maybe the first 2 weeks after she came out. I haven't seen her really that much since.
She's weird. I think she's okay. I think she's very high skill cap, and her combos are really sick, but she's really awkward to fit into a team comp in the sense that you can run her as a mid laner, but there's something that's a little off. She wins her mid matchup super hard, but she kind of is very... She's just a little squishy, so she tried to rotate for kills and stuff, but she's not quite as evasive as a hero like Puck that rotates to get kills and deal magic damage, and she's not quite as versatile as a hero like Quap that can do either magic or physical damage. And she's squishy, and it's just kind of I don't know. But that being said, I haven't seen it do super well. Then as a support, she's super good, but she's a little greedy, and it kind of, she's a little not great as a support. And then as an offlaner, she's good because she can do the offlane pull super easily, but then she doesn't do what offlaners do. So in the grand scheme of the game, you're kind of screwed. So yeah, she's in a weird place. I think she's a good hero, though. I admittedly only have one game of her ever. Similar to Pangolier, I only have 1 or 2 games of Pangolier.
Rolly boy.
Yeah, he's real strong, though, I will say. That's for sure. Let's see. My Dota recently has not been very exciting. I've just been playing whatever needs playing and trying to make Lena work, and Lena does not work. That is the verdict.
I remember that. Yeah. We had the in-house kind of lobby thing.
Oh yeah, well that also did not count for a variety of reasons. But I've just been playing generic Dota. I actually won 2 games today, so this is like me recording on a high.
Oh nice.
I'm primed and ready to talk about Dota.
Oh yeah, I did win a Spectre game before I left.
Oh, that's good.
For DC. That felt really good.
What did you build? Because Spectre is super good right now. She doesn't have an incredibly high pick rate, but she is a strong hero, and people are super hype on the Spirit Vessel on Spectre. I don't know. What did you do?
Well, I just went phase, and then I got an early Vanguard because we were up against a team with like Troll, Axe, Pudge, Wind Ranger, and Visage. So there was like a decent amount of physical damage, and they were like harassing me a lot. Axe was cutting the lane, and all that nightmare stuff. And then I just built into a Diffusal and then Manta, and then I picked up a Blade Mail because Troll was like targeting me. So yeah. But yeah, we ended up winning.
That's awesome.
It actually turned out pretty well. It was 8 and 5 and 17. Not too bad.
The Spectre is one of those interesting heroes where, as much as people always think about Radiance, they're like, oh man, every Spectre builds Radiance. Spectre's actually super good without Radiance. It just so happens that, if you can get a Radiance, it's even better. But it is, like, back when Badman was climbing and he was, like, the first guy to 8K and all that when he was playing Spectre, she's still functionally the same as back then, although obviously some of the items have been tuned a little. He was not building Radiance in most of his games. He was just doing, like, basically what you did, except he had a drums. But Spectre's super effective just as one of these fighting heroes that's just like, all right, I'm just tanky, and if you try to fight me, you will kill yourself because I have Dispersion and also a Vanguard, and I'm just tanky. It's interesting.
Yeah,
she's super good.
Yeah, I was gonna try to get a Radiance in that game, but like I said, like Axe was cutting the lane, and actually, funnily enough, like during like the landing stage of that game, I got a phone call from my flight airline because our flights had gotten canceled, so I had to run and answer it, and then I had Kyle, my husband, play for me, but we have different controls, so he like missed a bunch of CS and stuff. So it was like a really big comeback for me, but yeah, we won. So I just was like, fuck Radiance, I'm just gonna get a Vanguard and try to farm, just like catch up on farm and stay alive and not die. So that's what I did.
Yep. As long as you get the win, it all works out.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So normally I would say, do you have any questions specifically? But we just sprang this on you, so I'm going to assume, or I should say, do you have any larger Dota questions that you think the teachling position would benefit from? Before we go into listener questions, I want to get some Peach questions.
Come up with some questions. So actually, well, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask about Spectre some more.
Okay, cool.
Because I actually really enjoy playing her, but I wanted to talk. Where's her talents? I'm trying to find her talents on Dota Buff. What talents do you usually go for her? Because there was one that I was kind of like, I don't know which one to get.
Admittedly, I don't play a ton of Spectre, but I have been seeing a good amount of Spectre, and I'll just say what I've noticed from experience. In general, I see people go in for 15 Desolate damage for the level 10 talent. If they are building like for a more aggressive build, like the build that you described, where they have, phase Vanguard or like phase Earn Vanguard and then like a Diffusal and whatnot, then you're getting the health regen from your Urn and from your Vanguard and from your Wand, of course. But if you're not doing that, if you are doing that, people I see go for the Desolate damage. And then, or some people call it Desolate. I don't know what the proper pronunciation is. I always say
Desolate.
See, everybody says Desolate, but then people point out that the word itself is desolate. Like, a place is desolate. Like, desolate is not an English language word.
Desolator.
Yes. So I don't know, but I'm going to say desolate. I'm going to say desolate because that's what rolls off the tongue. Anyway, what I do see the health when I do see the 5 health regen talent, it is for these really greedy specters that are going something like I don't know, Phase, Wand, Aki, Radiance, and they need that health regen to maintain like lane farm and jungle farm because they're not getting it from those supplementary items. That being said, both of these are kind of minimal, so it's not the end of the world. You kind of just have to feel it out. I've taken a lot of harass, especially then, like, the health regen's nice, and over the course of a fight, it accumulates, but, yeah. It's mostly just for if you don't have it already, you get some health regen for free. At 15, so 15, the options are 8 seconds less Spectral Dagger cooldown, which brings it down to an 8-second overall cooldown, or plus 8 to all stats, so a real 8 theme in this talent. I personally would go for 8 all stats because I am a sucker for stats talents, and Spectre is a hero that is just really stat heavy. Like this is a hero where you're building stat items, right? You benefit a ton from stats. The fact that you get like Manta, Scotty, Heart, Butterfly, right? She's building all these kind of tanky, not even necessarily tanky exclusively, but she's building all stat items. And the big thing is that Dispersion is directly benefited from you having more health. And then, of course, your damage is benefited from you having more Agi. And also, in some ways, Dispersion benefits from you having Agi. Because if you get 8 more Agi, that means you're getting 8 damage, 8 attack speed, and then also 1 full armor, and then also a little bit more than 1 full armor. So it really adds up when you get those 8 stats. And 160 health is, don't knock 160 health. Like 160 health really does, like, that's the make it or break it in a lot of situations. So I would be choosing 8 all stats. Spectral Dagger cooldown, I mean, I like it's.
I feel
nice,
like you don't really have like that much mana, and you're probably not gonna. I can't really think of many situations where you would be spamming dagger.
Yeah, I mean, it'll let you chase down one person like really well because it lasts for the effect lasts for 7 seconds, and then you'll have an 8-second cooldown if you get this talent, which means you can basically always have it running, and that's giving you 20% extra move speed. It's good if you're chasing people down, but on Spectre, you're
probably not going to be chasing people down that early.
Yeah, I mean, you're all 15, so you're probably at you are finishing your farming phase, maybe. But then Spectre just keeps farming.
Maybe that's something that you take, like, when your team's doing really well.
Yeah, it's kind of, like, oppressive, like, you just keep going at people. But then again, if you're tanking up from the 8 all stats, that's also it works that. I would pick stats, but I'm also a little biased. I pick stats almost every single time I can pick a stat talent. I've been going with the stats. It's just hard to not be happy when you get stats. It's such like an immediate reward. It's like, oh man, I'm just tankier now. Like 160 health. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
And also, like, she builds phase, so you don't have those treads to back you up. So any hero that builds phase, like Juggernaut has his 5 to all stats talent. Like, that talent is one of the reasons why I feel more comfortable building phase. Because I'm like, all right, I don't need, I mean, granted, I've never built treads on Jug just because of, how the hero works. But when I get those 5 to all stats talent, it's like, all right, cool. Like, I'm game. Like, this is making it okay that I didn't have treads, whereas other comparable heroes would have those tread stats. Let's see. At 20, you have either either you have 20% extra Spectral Dagger slow or 500 health. Let's see.
It's 500 health.
So 500 health, that is a lot of health. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of health.
It is also, again, this is a hero that benefits from being super tanky. Level 20, you're getting it at a point in the game you're hitting a real make it or break it kind of point. Granted, Spectre is a hero that just scales super well as the game goes on. But I kind of like health just in general. Again, I feel like this hero benefits so much from being tanky. That being said, the Spectral Dagger talent brings your slow up to 40%, which is incredible, just to say it simply. That's a lot of slow, and it allows you to really jam on somebody. And this hero's not, like, she's fast in, like, burst because she has phase, and maybe you have a butterfly late in the game, so you have another burst of speed. But I can see why, like, so actually, the Spectral Dagger talent has a higher win rate by 3%, which is consequential. It's not like a make it or break it thing. A lot of bad talents have high win rates, but it's good. It's a good talent. I feel like you could go either way. If you're not, so some builds are super tanky on Spectre. They go Heart, And some people don't go hard. They go in for instead more like traditional carry items, right? They'll build like Manta, Diffusal, Radiance, and maybe like an MKB if they need one against an evasion comp or something. In that situation, I would definitely go for the health. But if you are getting like a Scotty and a Heart and you're going to have 4,000 health anyway, the difference between a hero having 2,300 health and 2,800 health is a lot bigger deal than a hero having 4,000 health versus 4,500 health. So if you are going a build that's already super tanky, you probably don't need 500 more health because you already have 3,500 or 4,000 health. But and then you can afford to get that 20% Spectral Dagger slow cooldown talent, or excuse me, 20% Spectral Dagger talent. And also in some respects, you could also afford to do the minus 8 second Spectral Dagger cooldown. These two talents mesh together well. That being said, if you're not doing that and you're doing like a more middle ground build, I would probably go in for the 500 health, just to kind of supplement and make you into a hero that's kind of tanky, becomes really tanky.
Man, I love this about Dota, is just how much flexibility that you have from game to game to build your hero. And I think the talents made that even more so.
Yeah, you know I hated it at first, I'll be honest, but now I really like it.
Set in a role. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the talents at first were kind of like the death timer talents were. Yeah,
those were real dumb.
They were
real
ridiculous. Dumb. Yeah, but now I feel like they've reached a nice like point where maybe some of them need to be adjusted, but like you still like you can like with Spectre, like you have like tanky kind of talents like with the health regen and 500 health and stats, and then you also have like kind of more like damage and like being able to hunt people down with the Spectral Dagger cooldown and slow and. I don't know, it's just a thought. No, I love that about Dota.
It's super cool. Also, one of the things that we've trended towards as patches have gone on is that talents now are much more personalized to the hero. So, like you were saying earlier, there's a lot less talents that are just like, 5 second or 5 extra health regen, or stats at level 20. Very few heroes have level 20 talents that do not directly affect, or at least one of the options directly affect a spell of theirs. And that's what makes it more dynamic.
7.0 was like such a huge patch.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm sure by the end of it, they were like, fuck, let's just make up some talents and we'll fix them later.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's basically what it is, right? And Ice Frog was saying how, or I don't know if he said this, but it was made kind of, it's well known that he balances the game with talents now, rather than he used to balance the game off of like, I'm going to mess with starting stats, I'm going to mess with move speed, stuff like that. We still get those, of course, but less so since they put in talents. Nowadays, if a hero's weak, instead of giving them 5 more movement speed, they'll like buff their level 10 talent by a little bit, or what have you.
I didn't like the way the talent tree symbol looked at first. It kind of freaked me out. It looked like a chest, like a rib cage.
Oh, I never thought about it. It looks like a.
I didn't. It really, like really bothered me at first. I mean, now I look at it as a tree, but it really bothered me at first. I couldn't look at it.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but I could see it.
Yeah. Anyways, level 25 talent.
So 70% of people choose 8% dispersion, which, let's see, that is going to, so it gives you 8% more health effectively, right? Because the damage that is reflected by dispersion is not dealt to Spectre. So if I deal you 100 damage, but you have 30% dispersion, that means you're taking 70. And then it's also... That's a
good way to look at it.
But then it's also... You also have armor and stuff. That's one of the reasons why Spectre's so tanky. So 8% extra dispersion means you have 8% more, EHP, kind of. And then...
Theoretically.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm wrong with the math there, but that's how the mechanic works. I'm sure somebody will correct me. Somebody being proud. But that also means 8% additional damage going out to. God, now I need to do math. Now, so basically you're buffing your dispersion talent by a third, because it says 22% at max level, and then you're adding 8% more, which is basically a third. So you're bringing it to 30%. So 30% of the damage being dealt to you is being dealt back outwards, which means people are killing themselves.
Within the area.
Yeah, within the area around you.
How does that split? Is it 30% damage per target that's in the area, or is it just 30% damage split amongst everything in the area?
Oh, God. You're killing me.
Sorry, that's a really that's like a mega specific question.
I'm not a Spectre player either. Okay, yeah. One second. All right. Let's see.
Up, I guess. See, it's those little tiny things that I don't know about the game, which is why I'm not 4K.
See,
now, surely that's why.
These are the kind of things where I think I know it, but whenever I say it with confidence, I'm wrong. But whenever I double check, I was right in the first place.
Say it with humility or like second guessing yourself,
no.
And then maybe you'll be
somebody
right.
That's humble, that's wrong, is still wrong.
That's not the Ursi way.
Yeah, being humble won't make you right. It just makes you a little nicer seeming when you're wrong. Reflected. Okay. I'm reading the wiki just to make sure that I'm right. Okay. Okay, so it just deals it in an AoE around you.
So just anyone in the AoE is like partaking in that 30% damage split among everyone in the AoE? Or every target is taking 30% damage.
God, all right. Let's.
I don't know.
I'm pulling up Dota right now. To answer this question. I
like your name.
Yeah, I'm Momoland's #1 promoter. Listen to Boom Boom on Spotify, please.
I haven't even listened to it yet.
Man, that's a crime. All right, you're gonna be kicked out of our personal Discord.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's yeah.
I've been wanting to wait. I wanted to wait till I have the right moment to listen to it, like with my headphones at home.
Honestly, there have been like maybe a half dozen people that are just like, yeah, I've had this on repeat since I listened to it for the first time. All right, so
I know I've been seeing people say that.
I'm playing Spectre right now. I have Dispersion.
Okay. What's happening?
Okay, I'm spawning axe. Sorry, I have push talk on. That's why there's silence. All right. So.
Oh, sorry.
So I was right. All right. So it just deals the damage to everybody in that AoE. So like right now I'm being attacked.
Split.
Yeah. No, it's not split. Everybody is dealt the same damage.
Okay. That's that. Okay.
Wait. Oh God.
So everybody's taking 30% of the damage that you would have been taking.
Now you got me asking more questions. All right. 1 sec.
You expected an easy Teach Me Tuesday?
All right. No. Okay. So it does the damage reflected to everybody in the area. So, like, for instance, this axe was attacking me for 53 damage, and I have level 1 dispersion with reflects 10 damage. The axe is taking 4 damage from it. And then when I have 3 more axes in that area, each other axe is also taking 4 damage. And because it's reduced by their armor, right? Yeah, it's reduced by their armor. Because the damage is calculated to Spectre before resistances, but then the hero that's receiving the damage has the resistances calculated relative to the damage that was done initially.
But the thing, I think this is where I have the question. The enemy hero that is attacking Spectre is taking 30% of the damage that they specifically are dealing to her, not the 30% of the damage that she's being dealt in the entire area, correct? Or no? Oh,
no. The damage being dealt to her is being reflected into the area of people close to her.
From anybody,
yeah. So, like, if I am... Okay. That's why I spawned 4 axes. So, like, this axe right now, I have level 2 dispersion. He's taking 7 damage, or 6 damage sometimes. I don't know why that's split. It's probably just a weird calculation thing. But if I bring in... another axe, that axe is also taking 6 or 7 damage every single time, as long as they're within the 1,000 AoE of Spectre.
So if they both hit her and she takes double the damage, does that mean they take more damage?
Okay. Yeah, so they're both taking damage from each other's hits.
More damage.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'm glad that this works the way that I thought it worked. Yeah, so the damage dealt to her is reflected outwards. So if you get that 8% talent, that is making you, just amplifying the amount of damage taken by everybody dealing damage.
So that's good, though. 8% is pretty good.
It's definitely good. And also, I mean, it has, 70% of people choose it as a 2.4% higher win rate. I also
feel like the haunt illusion isn't really that great compared to the dispersion.
Yeah, especially in the late game, because odds...
Because they're not really doing that much damage. Like, even 20% isn't probably going to change that much.
Yeah. I mean, if you have if you have Diffusal and then you have a Radiance and stuff like that, sure, it'll add up. But in general, the other thing you have to think of on these kind of heroes, talent-wise, is that in a late game, your objective is not so much to be killing everybody, it's to be killing, like, the enemy core, right? If you're level 25, you're more focused on killing the enemy troll warlord instead of worrying about killing their, like, level 5 lion or their level 20 lion, right? Because A, the lion is already deleting your illusion, or B, they're blinking away or they're force staffing away or whatever. They're kiting your illusions by this point. And that's everybody else's job. Like Spectre, in the super late game, generally the cores have to kill the other cores. Whereas in the early game, you're more you're fighting everybody. So, yeah, in the late game, I would choose the 8% dispersion. And also you have to factor in, like, other people are going to be doing more damage, which means that more damage is going to be taking out, or is going to be coming out from this. You're going to have more HP, so that means you have more of a total pool of which you can disperse damage from. So, yeah, that's my opinion on Spectre.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Got a crash course on her talents.
I'm glad I had the chance to look into this too. Because
I love playing Spectre. Like, when I play carries, like, she's probably one of my favorites. I love the sound that her auto attack makes.
Yeah, no, she's super cool. I wish I never gave away my Desolator or traded away my Desolator. You know, the cosmetic, the Desolator.
Oh,
I traded that for something or other. I can't remember, but I feel real silly now. I also do see, just looking at some high-more players, some people do go treads on Spectre nowadays. Which is interesting.
I know it used to be a thing.
Yeah, it used to be a thing sometimes. But people, I guess she just gets super tanky. Like, if you have treads and an Aki and a Vanguard, you could just have that and, like, nobody's going to be able to kill you, realistically. And then you just, like, go straight Radiance. And then after that, like, you get Diffusal and, like, Scotty and Heart and whatnot. I'm just kind of a sucker for Scotty, honestly. A lot of people don't go with Scotty now that I'm doing research. But personally, I really love Scotty.
It's not even in her top items.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody 7K plus that's building Scott. Oh, no, there's one guy. Oh, no, he's only 5K. Never mind. He's just as bad as I am. Pleb. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of Scotties here, but I like Scotty, so if you get flamed in your pubs, just say Ursi told me to. I also like Scotty AM, and like I just like Scotty a lot as an item. I like Scotty Luna. I like Scotty in general.
It's a very solid, safe item to go.
Yeah, it's well rounded. You can't
really go wrong with a Scotty. Like, it's not gonna like put you back. Right?
It's not gonna put you back, but it's not a transformative item.
It might not help you.
It's like at certain points, like famously, one of the worst jug builds you can go is just to build a ton of stats. Like, some people, they think, oh man, I'm Jug, I just need to like build a bunch of stats and I'll win. Like, you'll see people that go like, they'll go Phase, Aki, Drums, Sage and Yasha, Scotty, or like Manta, Scotty, and then like an Abyssal. And then they don't have a single item that just gives them damage, right? They have no damage, they just have stats. Stats reach a point where, or stats are always good, but they're not necessarily the best thing you can get, if that makes sense. Like, no hero builds a Scotty and is sad that they have a Scotty. But they just spent, upwards of 5,000 gold. They could have instead built like a Daedalus, or they could have built an MKB, or they could have built an AC. And those items are much more transformative in that they change in a large way what your hero is doing. Whereas Scotty is a nice 5th or 6th item once you already have those transformative items. So like, if I'm playing... let's see, what's a good example of this? If I'm playing AM and if I have Treads and a Battle Fury and a Manta, those are my basic items, right? My next item is generally going to be an Abyssal, which is going to transform my hero from a hero that just is tanky and evasive and deals some damage if you lose mana, to a hero that is able to jump on somebody and lock them down and kill them and pop them right away. But if I built, and then I could build a Scotty after that, because I've already transformed my hero's function in a fight, because I added an entire mechanic they did not have previously, right? I added a stun to my repertoire. But if I build a Scotty before that Abyssal, then I'm just doing more of the same. And I'm at a point in the game where I do not want to do more of the same. I'm at a point in the game where I want to be transformed into a hero that does something extra. That's kind of the rationale.
Okay. Makes sense.
I hope it makes sense. It's a weird concept because, again, a lot of times Scotty is the right item, but it's like there are items that secure what you're already doing and make it so that you're doing it even better. But if what you're doing currently is not working, then you need an item that changes what you're doing rather than an item that makes what you're doing right now better, if that makes sense. I think that makes sense. Again, like that's probably the best example I'd give is like AM. You might want to build a Scotty 5th item because you've already built an item that changes what you do. But if what you do, because what you're doing at that point is already enough, right? Once you have your Abyssal, you're already like good and solid. But then if you don't have an Abyssal yet, then you build an Abyssal next, then your transformative item is coming later. Similar thing is like Jug, right? You get your blink on Jug, that's a transformative item on Jug because now you have the choice to blink and ult on somebody. When you don't have that, if you just have a bunch of stat items, you do the same thing every single fight, and you don't really have like any big difference. These transformative items are almost always active items, right? Like nobody has ever built drums and said, "Oh wow, I'm a transformed person now." Like drum just makes you a little do what you do better and faster.
It makes you run fast. But that feels transformative.
Sometimes that will make you feel like a whole new person.
When you're in 2K pubs, RC, drums are like a rallying call for your friends, and you all just charge and you run really fast, and it feels very empowering.
Oh, trust me, like I love drums. I played a Jug game today, and I almost built drums, but then I decided not to, and I built a Sage and Yasha because Sage and Yasha is my other true love. I guess it's coming out this podcast that I just love stat items that are not good. Or like, I shouldn't say not good, but they're not transformative. Like, I love drums, I love Scotty, I love Sage and Yasha, but like Manta, for some heroes and in some situations, is a transformative item because it can purge and illusions are good. Sage and Yasha just makes you do more of the same. So like, in this game that I just played, I played a Jug game, and admittedly we got carried by... Actually, we didn't get carried by this guy. We all did our part. I went Phase, Wand, Battle Fury, Sage and Yasha. And then I went Blink Abyssal. But I was at the point where that Sage and Yasha was just making me... Like, what I was already doing, like, damage-wise, was enough. So I built that Sage and Yasha to secure the fact that I was already doing my function enough because I had the plus damage from Battle Fury. But if I had gone... Let's say I went Phase, Wand, Sage and Yasha, and then Scotty, then it's just like... I have no cool items. Like, I have no big items. I just kind of do a bunch of things mediocre. I don't have a damage item to work with my ult. I don't have a, like, mobility item to get good ults off. I don't have a lockdown item like an Abyssal. You're just kind of you don't do anything good. You just kind of, like, stand around and you're like, yeah, I do okay damage. Yeah, I live a little bit. But at the end of the day, that's just not what you need out of your hero. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
All right. Do you have any other big questions? I have another question. Good.
I have a huge question.
Uh-oh.
It's actually a quiz for you.
Oh God, I'm terrified.
No cheating.
I promise.
Okay. What's the hero with the lowest win rate this month?
In overall pubs?
Yes.
And just for the month?
Just for the month.
Lone Druid, maybe?
Oh my God.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm impressed with myself. I was gonna say Wisp, but I feel like Wisp is the easy answer.
That's second.
Okay, yeah. I feel like you would not have asked me.
That's the lowest win rate of all time.
Yeah, that's a sad. It's understandable though, because Wisp is real hard, and also not only is Wisp hard. I was explaining to somebody. Somebody was asking, should I learn Wisp or should I learn Oracle? And the heroes are probably similar difficulty, but the thing is, Wisp is difficult for teammates to play with, whereas Oracle is just difficult for the player playing Oracle. I
love Oracle.
I like both of them.
I'm pretty sure
I just suck
that the last time I played Wisp, I got Armlet.
That's something.
It was kind
I wouldn't blame you.
Wacky game.
I love Armlet. Armlet's my go-to. I'm winning the game. I'm going to build fun items item. Like I want to say
I think I was like Heart and an Armlet or something.
Yeah, I played Armlet Shadow Fiend recently. I had an Armlet Bane game, an Armlet Jug game.
Oh.
I've like dozens of Armlet Rubik games.
I want to say that armlet toggling is probably one of the most satisfying things in the game if you do it successfully. Maybe manta dodging is better, but I don't think I've ever manta dodged anything.
Really? It's not hard. Once you do it a few times, you get used to it.
It's not something I actively think about, though. I'm usually like,
that's
Manta,
the hard part.
use my illusions to push the wave or help me kill this person, but I don't usually think about it as a defensive item.
Yeah, it's one of those skills where, like you said, you have to be conscious of the fact that you can do it. It's similar to like rage TPing or BKB TPing. BKB TPing is not hard to do, but a lot of people don't think to do it, and then it just is a useless mechanic to them. But once you have it in your mind, like, oh, I can do this and I should be practicing it, then you do it enough that it becomes second nature and it becomes good. The only problem with Manta dodging is that it's such a committal cooldown, is that if you try to Manta dodge, let's say a Laguna Blade, and then you get Orchided, but the whole point you bought that Manta was to purge the Orchid, then you've just wasted like your entire thing and then you just die. And it's like, yeah, sure, you did something cool, but you didn't need to do something cool. You needed to dodge an Orchid, which is easy. So
I feel like I would be satisfied if I did something cool.
That'd be satisfying, but like you'd still die and lose the game, let's say, like potentially. Yeah, Manta dodging is not rocket science. It is, like you said, you just have to do it a bunch and get it in your mind, like, right, I can do this. And also, certain spells are way easier than others to dodge. Like
Alchemist Stun, maybe?
Yeah, Alchemist Stun is super easy.
Flying through the air.
You can dodge Dark Willow's Stun that has like the clock on it, is super easy to dodge.
Oh, yeah.
For instance. Or like you can dodge basically any telegraphed ability is really easy to dodge. Like you could dodge Witch Doctor casks super easily. There's some things that are super hard to dodge, like Glimpse. Like Glimpse is going to be real hard to dodge because it happens instantaneously. But
I feel like that Glimpse is the best ability in the game.
It's up there. It's definitely one of the most unique abilities in the game. And it is one of the hardest to conceptualize.
Yeah.
And hard to play against. Well, I shouldn't say it. It's easy to play against in the sense that it has a very simple counter, but that simple counter is hard to get to. Yeah, Disruptor's the bomb. I don't play him that much anymore.
Every time I play Disruptor in a pub?
Glimpse?
I all chat, I'm going to lose control of my raptor. And then when I kill somebody, I say, I lost control of my raptor.
Wow. Yeah, this is why you have so many reports, Peach.
I'm so toxic.
Gosh. NA Dota, dude. All right.
And then I like talk over the mic and be like, I'm losing control of my raptor. And then I like walk in circles and like in it's funny. Anyway, I make myself laugh. Anyways, we can move on to something more
important.
educational.
So, all right. Our first sponsor for today is Pugna, PVGNA. Pugna is an online platform that you've all heard plenty about and you'll hear more about now. They are an online platform and community where high-skilled Dota 2 players and coaches create educational video guides on how to improve the game, learn new heroes, and help folks climb the ranks. I'm sure post-Captain's Draft, we're all itching to get better at Dota, I hope, Peach.
Fired up right over here.
Yep. The platform is totally ad-free, and each hero guide is divided into smaller, separate videos. So if you're looking for something to kill 15 minutes or kill, an hour, you can find something that's suited to your time frame. Or if you have a specific problem, right? You're terrible at Night Stalker itemization like I am. You just go, all right, I'm only going to watch the itemization part, when in reality you probably should have watched the whole thing, but you can skip the rest and just go to itemization. You can learn in just an hour or two things that took hundreds or even thousands of hours for people to accumulate, hundreds in the case of heroes and then thousands in the case of the more conceptual things like how to play an offlaner, or just like analysis of patches. There is plenty of content for people of all skill levels, whether you're brand new or a mediocre player, that seems kind of mean, or you're a middle tier player or a high tier player. There's always something new to glean from an educational guide. You can use our promo code FOURTH, fourth, and get a full 30 days of their pro subscription 100% free at pugna.com. That's pvgna.com. And you can also find them on Twitter for all your Pugna related needs at pvgna pugna. All right. And our other sponsor for today is Unicorn. Unicorn is everybody's favorite premier esports outlet. Unicorn has completely legal and free to play esports betting everywhere, as well as real money betting if you are in the UK or Australia. You can earn betting tokens as well as Unicorn Gold to use on cosmetic items raffles just by playing your favorite games. In addition to esports betting, Unicorn has plenty of other stellar Dota 2 content, including articles, pro-meta analyses. Analyses? Well, analyses because it's plural, right? All right, good, golden. guides to new patches when they go live, and other common esports interest pieces from folks like Gorgon and many other writers from their staff. Unicorn also has their service Unicorn Connect, that is CONNEKT, where you can earn Unicorn Gold just by playing Dota 2, CSGO, or League of Legends, and trade in said gold for chances to win cosmetic items from those games at no cost to you. I remember the other day I bet a bunch of things. I was thinking about betting it on a Techie's Arcana, because I think that's the only one I don't have. But I thought to myself, I can't do that because that's just criminal. And we didn't end up betting on that. But
you should have bet on it and given it to me.
No, because that's like my ideal world is one where all the Techies players break that habit, right? And they get to be better. But that's not a realistic world, so I can't in good conscience give people Techies Arcanas.
Fair enough.
That being said, if you would like to win a Techies Arcana or, other various items, you can go to unicorn.com/connect, CONNEKT, and raffle for them. And that is Unicorn, UNIKRN. And thank you both, Unicorn and Pugna, for your support. Okay, let's do a few viewer questions. All right, so let's see. I know there's some questions that are definitely proud questions, and then there's some questions that are not proud questions that I'm going to do instead. Let's see. This is a good question relative to you especially, because you're like an esportsy kind of person that you make moves and wheel and deal. What's the phrase
Weasel
I'm trying to get to?
my way into spaces I don't belong.
You're on the up and up. No, see, that's a weird slip on your part. I would never say that, but you're insinuating that yourself. So I will not take the blame for that.
Sure.
So this is a question from Ashton S. Ashton S. asked a few questions, but we're going to talk about the other one because one of them we're going to talk about on Theorycraft Thursday, which is a rarity, and then another one Proud is going to talk about because I'm not qualified to talk about it, and this one is the one we're going to talk about. So Ashton says, when considering the future of Dota, is a community-based open-source MOBA a possibility, or wanted by those involved in Dota? What would it ideally look like to have that community control input decision-making and the actual games? So I guess the summary of this question is essentially, if we want an alternative to Dota that was not controlled by Valve, what would it look like? Do you think it would be super similar to Dota, or do you think what would be different about it? And also, would that even be viable? Because right, Dota was a community-based open-source MOBA for a while in the beginning, and then the kind of, obviously it had originators, right? IceFrog. No. Well, IceFrog didn't originate it. He was he was an early adopter that ended up being in control. But it was basically a community open-source MOBA, and then eventually it got signed and all that, and now it's controlled by still IceFrog, of course, but also Valve. What do you think this is even a possibility, and do you think that what do you think would be different, Peach?
I don't think it would be better than the Dota that we have now. I feel because no matter what, obviously it would need to be run by select people from the community, right?
Yeah, eventually it would have to have
everyone.
Leaders. Yeah, it's not just a bunch of people. You can't just have
everyone making changes.
yeah.
There's so many players. That would be a nightmare. I will say that I do appreciate, and even though I didn't play Dota 1, or the original Dota, Defense of the Ancients,
you're not missing much.
I appreciate the artwork that they used to have.
Oh, from Kunkka?
All of the little, icons for abilities and stuff. I love seeing throwbacks to those.
Oh, yeah.
Drawn in paint, those were pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really see a better version of Dota 2 coming out from the community. I could see maybe
an alternative
custom games or things that were built from Dota, maybe that are different, maybe smaller, but I don't think I would want it to be. I feel like it would be a hellscape, honestly.
Yeah, I think
because nobody ever agrees on anything, and then people argue about IceFrog, and then he changes something, and then they're worshiping him.
Yeah, people
it's just
are
a cycle,
fickle.
It's the natural cycle of Dota,
Yeah,
there's that little comic of the stick figure guy that's pointing at a pile of slop on the table, and he's like, "This is shit," and then they put IceFrog in, and he slides it over to them, and then they're eating it anyways. that's basically the Dota community.
Yeah, it's not always the best. I would say, like, so I would basically agree with you that I think the future of MOBAs and the future of Dota is not an alternative to Dota. It is just a better Dota. And I think the way that happens, barring the miraculous change of having a Valve that actually communicates with us, is to have more spaces, kind of like Fourth Spirit Space, if I am to self-plug, where you can have a more organic experience with your friends and with new people that will become your friends. I think, like, as much as we all treat solo ranked as like the gospel and everybody cares so much about playing alone, and a lot of people do play exclusively alone, myself being probably a bad person to say this because I do prefer to play alone in general, but it is a game where it only gets better community-wise and even in some ways balance-wise if you play it as a group. So having more avenues for people to group together and play and queue and find friends and find people to say like, oh, I want to coach you, or oh, I need a coach, stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that Dota needs to grow. And whether Valve creates that or from the, you know, like Ashton was saying, from the community that rises, I think that is good for the overall health of the game. Obviously, Dota has a particularly virulent, I think it's virulent, strain of toxicity.
I don't know what that word is.
Just like really bad. Where it's like virulent. God, this is going to kill me. Virulent is like, it's like a plague.
Vile.
Yeah. Like a plague is very virulent because it, why did I bring this word up? I can't even freaking pronounce it. This is killing me. Anyway.
Because I can never say peripheral. Yeah, that's the one I always get tongue-tied.
Oh, no, okay, I was right. Virulent. That's how you're supposed to pronounce it. I just looked it up.
Never
Virulent. Of a disease or poison, extremely severe or harmful in its effects. Bitterly hostile. Wow.
This is such an educational episode for me.
I hope so. Okay, let's get back to the point. Dota has a particularly virulent strain of toxicity amongst its community. Like there was a big Reddit post today that was like, I just flamed a guy who's actually new and I feel so bad. It's like, yeah, because that's just what happens. And he's like, yeah, that guy, I checked his account after and he immediately went offline after the game. And it's, I mean, that guy also could have been faking it. Some people were insinuating that there was no possible way that this was a true story. Regardless, it's a very toxic community. And part of the way that you subvert that is by, like I was saying earlier, having like places to find groups, like guilds almost, like we used to have. Although even that was not a very fully fleshed out system. I think you just need to have some self-selection. I think if people just generally start becoming better, that's just better for the game. It's amazing that, like, it amazes me the amount of toxicity that exists. Specifically, I think the amount of toxicity that directly results in losing games is what surprises me more so than, like, the flaming. Because, like, flaming is bad, but people just mute each other. But people that, like, actively feed is what surprises me more than anything else. Because, like, it just...
There was some, like, East Dota community person that was tweeting, like, a player, I think, that was tweeting, like, just maybe, like, last week about, like, I don't understand why people... Oh, it was Sing Sing.
Yes,
he tweeted about, like, ragers, and he was just like, I don't understand why people play Dota if they're literally just going to give up 10 minutes in when something doesn't go their way. Like, why are you playing this game? Why are you so... And, like, I honestly don't know either. Like, many times have I had to, like, talk someone out of just sitting in the base because it's like, oh, I lost my lane or you lost your lane, so I'm just going to sit in the base or feed. And it's like, come on.
Yeah.
You join this game, just finish it. Do your best, have fun. Like, chill out.
Yeah, it's rough. So I think those are the two big things for me that need to change for the growth of Dota. And also, like, not even only the growth, the maintaining of current numbers is that you need to just have higher standards for each other. And part of the way you do that is by having communities and stuff. I think that's a big one. But I think... And
Valve, like, supporting communities like that, too, would be cool.
Yeah. And, of course, you know, if Valve was communicative about certain things, then that would be better. But I think that's not something we have control of. But we all are involved in communities in some way, whether they're small communities or large communities. That's something much more manageable. And it's as simple as just like helping somebody learn or just not flaming a dude because they don't know what they're doing. Asking them or telling them like, hey, maybe don't do that. Or asking them why did they do that, stuff like that.
Like give them a suggestion, you know? Or, you know, One more thing. I will say that with this about this question, if Ice Frog wasn't so good at what he does, I might feel differently. But
yes.
Like, he does a damn good job. Whether or not you might disagree with certain patches, but he does a good job. And this is like an amazingly maintained game.
Yeah.
For the it's not as popular as, League and all these other games, but it's still so high quality. And it's patched all the time. So, I mean, I'm happy with the place that it's at, other than, like you said, the community issues for the most part.
Absolutely. I agree completely. All right. Let's see. There's so many questions that are like, hey, Proud. Oh, killing me. All right.
He's in such high demand.
Let's see. Our next question that we're going to go over, Tanaden asks, how many games played over a 3-month period would you say somebody needs on a certain hero to say if they're good on them? Like 20 games and a 60% win rate, 35 games and a 53% win rate? Do you have any... Okay, so do you have any hero... Do you ever spam Peach? I guess this is the first question. Like spam a hero?
Normally, I don't. But I did go through a period where I did, particularly with like offlane Enchantress. I spammed the shit out of offlane Enchantress in 6.84, I think it was. Like when Dragonlance came out, and like I would go like Phase Drums, Dragonlance, like just build her into like just straight damage. And like you couldn't be killed. Like nobody, because it was like a physical damage kind of meta at the time. There wasn't like a ton of burst, so like she was really strong, and like you just level 1 untouchable. And anyways, I'm getting off track. But yeah, I don't normally hero spam. I'm kind of the person that just like plays. Like, I fill roles. I don't usually, like, demand a lane or a role. I just kind of fill it, and then I usually pick something like, what do I feel like playing today? And I like to switch it up. The only heroes I don't play is, like, Storm Spirit, Meepo, and Invoker. Mm-hmm. Those are, like, the 3 heroes that, like, I never, ever play. But otherwise, I pretty much play everybody. Of course, I have, like, maybe 20 heroes that I tend to gravitate to, but other than that, like... So maybe I'm not the best person to ask that, because I don't spam. Usually I don't focus on a certain hero. I try to focus on mechanics as a whole and like game sense and things like that, laning. So
if you did, so I also don't really spam heroes. Occasionally I will spam heroes, but it's never for a long period of time. It's like I want to test out a Lena build, so I'll play 5 games in a row Lena. Or like when I was playing a ton of Elder Titan, I played like maybe 15 games of Elder Titan in a row, but that's not 3 months of playing. I feel
like 3 months would definitely give you a solid understanding of a hero.
Yeah. Well,
like even if you just play them for like 10 games in a row, like you're gonna like have a decent understanding of like at least like the timing on their abilities, maybe like what certain basic build would be better. Probably the biggest thing would be like matchups against other heroes, because obviously that's just over time you're gonna run into different matchups and like learn what they're weak against, how to play against other heroes. That would take more time, but
yeah, so
just like understanding if you naturally have like good reaction times with that hero or sense about that hero and how they should navigate and react and stuff would probably be fair.
So I will say, getting back like to the more exact point of the question, which again he said he was thinking about how to judge somebody who plays a hero a lot, not necessarily spams them every game, but somebody that they have 50 games of Lena and they have X amount of win rate. In general, I think that it's not very reasonable to make an absolute call on anybody based on win rate on a single hero, because so many things go into it, which is kind of like not a very committal or fun answer, but it's the answer that I'll give. I think win rates are notoriously messed up just because I could be terrible at Crystal Maiden, but if I play in the same 5-stack every game, and I know every time I play Crystal Maiden, my friend's going to play Jug, and my mid laner is going to play SF, and I'm going to get both of them super fat. We're going to kill the offlaner over and over again. My mid laner is going to have so much mana, and we're just going to jam on people. I could have an 80% win rate on CM over 50 games over a 3-month period. But that does not necessarily mean that I am a god tier CM player. It just means that I pick it in the right situations, and I'm playing in 5 stacks. So with that stipulation given, that 5-stack data really skews things. If somebody's playing the same hero in solo queue in the same or similar situations over and over again, if they have over a 50% win rate or I should say, if they have less than a 50% win rate over a ton of games, then I would be a bit critical of their play. I feel like any hero that you play super often, you should have a higher than 50% win rate on. Even if it's only like 53% or something. But if you're playing like Shadow Shaman like every other game for 3 straight months and your win rate's like 42%, you probably have some issues that are Shadow Shaman related. Like you're probably just not playing that hero super well. So I'll say, if I am to judge people, it's that if they have like 30 games on a hero with a less than 50% win rate, and it's not like a super complicated hero like Meepo or Visage, I would be pretty critical of them. But I think judging people on win rates is pretty finicky at best, because there's just so many things that go into them. Like maybe that person is like, they are spamming Storm, and maybe their win rate's like 45% because they first pick it every game. Maybe they're a great Storm Spirit, but they're just like a fool that is just like, I'm just going to spam this hero and I want to, like the classic, I'm going to learn how to play against my counters. But it's like, there's only so much you can do. Like sometimes you just get counterpicked into oblivion and you just wasted an hour of everybody's time. So yeah, I would be a bit cautious about judging people's skill on a hero relative specific to their win rate. And people that say that, people that boast about their win rate on a hero generally are like, I don't know. It's kind of a nonsense stat as far as I'm concerned. Like unless you're super far in either direction.
My highest win rate hero is
overall, or your highest win rate
with more than 40 games.
I don't know. I don't play with you that often, I'll be honest.
Enigma.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Enigma's really good too, and nice big plays too.
With 41 games.
Let's see. My highest win rate hero. Wow, I can't even believe this stat. My highest win rate hero with more than 40 games played is Juggernaut. Do you want to know what my Juggernaut win rate is? I have 48 games.
What?
I have a 68.75% win rate on Jug in 48 games.
Whoa, that's higher than my Enigma.
And I have, let's see, on Dazzle, 66% win rate out of 67 games. Man, I should play Dazzle. I have a 74% win rate on Drow with 23 games played. Man, I guess I'm pretty good at certain heroes. My lowest, wait, no. What is my lowest win rate here that I have a lot of games?
62.71 on Dazzle with 59 games.
So you want to know my worst hero with 20 plus games is? I have a 17% win rate on Puck with 23 games played.
Oh my god.
Yikes. I'm never going to be a Puck player.
That's silencer for me. 23. I have 21 games and I have a 23.81 win rate.
Oh man, I have a pretty high win rate on silencer. He's the bomb.
I suck at silencer for some reason. I just like can't ever play him right.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get into just reading Dota buff stats, let's do some more questions.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. That's fine. That's mostly a critique of me.
People can read my Dota buff stats if they want, but they're just gonna laugh.
Yeah, they can read mine, and it does not exactly imbue a great deal of
but
confidence.
Not laugh.
Yeah, some people definitely have better stats. I'll say that much. All right, let's see. Okay, so let's do a couple shorter questions. So new guy XLII asks, let's see. He gave a bunch of questions, so let's pick a good one, shall we? All right. So how to play Legion Commander in the mid game? I play a lot of LC, mostly because I can't play other offlaners as much as I've been branching out recently. But LC is a hero that I think a lot about in the offlane, because some games I just absolutely dominate and some games I just feed out of my mind. So mid game LC is really the most. Also, first off, do you play LC much, Peach?
I dabble in a little LC from time to time.
Do you have the Arcana? That's the better question.
No. The only Arcanas I have are Phantom Assassin and Crystal Maiden.
Okay, that means you're responsible. 2 Arcanas is like the enthusiast level. Any more than that's like, oh boy, you have a problem, of which I have many.
Well, I buy Arcanas for heroes that like I play a lot, and I played a lot. Crystal Maiden's one. They're both 2 of my top 5 heroes. So.
Okay. Yeah, I have Arcanas for heroes that I've played like twice. It's bad. All right.
Well, we all know you're an addict when it comes to hats, Ursi.
Yeah. Well, the first step to improvement is admitting that you have a problem, and that's what I've just done here publicly.
That's about where you've been for the past few years.
Yeah, I've been in the same first stage for a while. All right. So again, how to play LC in the mid game. So LC, the laning phase, obviously you want to be coming out, and let's just say the mid game starts once you have Blink Dagger. To be simple, maybe maybe it's like a fast blink dagger and landing phase is still like extending, or maybe it's late and you're already in the mid game. But for the sake of it, let's just say you have blink dagger and that's when your mid game starts. So the goal should be to analyze the enemy team and say, all right, which of these enemy heroes can I solo duel? Which of these enemy heroes do I need other people with me to duel? And which of these heroes should I just never duel ever? So let's see. I'm not going to go into a full team comp, but a good example of each hero would be, all right, I'm playing LC. I have no dual damage right now. Maybe I have one dual one because like a gank came to my lane or whatever. But I have like a blink and phase and a wand and like a stout shield. A hero that I can duel and kill right away is like a lion. Usually a 5-position support is going to be those easy pick-off duels when you just get a blink dagger and you have little to no dual damage accumulated. A hero like AM is somebody that will quickly become a hero that you can solo duel once you have a blade mail. But until you have that blade mail, when you only have blink, odds are you're probably not going to kill him unless he's already low. And also similarly, if you have a teammate that can help you duel, AM is a super duelable target because he does not have his stat items yet, right? He's going to be going Treads, Wand, Battle Fury, Yasha, and then finishing Manta. So odds are until probably 19 to 20 minutes, he's not going to have a single real stat item. The only stats he's getting are from Treads, which maybe, if he's bad, he has those Treads on Agi. And then he's just going to feed dual damage. So those are two good examples of a hero that you want to duel if you have help or if you have a blade mail. Then a hero that you want to duel no matter what, like a lion that's just basically free dual damage. And then a hero that you never want to duel is a hero like, I don't know, a Batten. It's like, if I duel an Abaddon, this is just a waste of time.
Yeah, that's like the most useless dueling
hero. Yeah, I mean, like it's useful
unless
situationally.
Unless his ult's already been used.
Yeah, or it's useful situationally if you're like, right, my teammate is going to kill their Huskar while I duel their Oracle. Sure, I'm not going to kill the Oracle because let's say he's already ulted himself or something. But because I'm dueling the Oracle and locking him down, then they cannot affect the outcome of the Huskar gank. So that's another, caveat I guess we'll give up. But in the mid game, you are looking for these different duels depending on the situation. Another big thing about LC mid-game is about your itemization. There are a lot of different branching paths for Legion Commander. So let's go through some of the branches. So some people go Armlet. That's like a super fighting build. A lot of people that do go Armlet, they'll get it before their blink. Like in some games, you have so much set up for duels that you don't even need a blink dagger or a shadow blade early. You can afford to go like phase and like stout and a quell and a magic wand and then get Armlet, and then you're just super tanky and you're just a force to be reckoned with. And then like let's say you have like a puck. That puck is going to set up for duels, so you don't need a blink dagger. You can just run in there. And that's when Armlet is a good first item. That being said, if you already do have a blink, you can go Armlet second if it's a game where you want to have a lot of armor and you want to be just like a big tanky person in the middle of fights. The alternative that I would normally go for is just a blade mail. That's a much simpler thing. It allows you to make the enemy kill themselves on top of you, which is real nice, real handy. Heroes that are not duelable become duelable, like an AM. Or like anybody that deals good damage, really, like a PA. PA is going to be super hard to kill in duels, but if you have a blade mail and she crits you, she's critting herself and dealing a ton of damage. So that becomes a much more achievable duel. Shadowblade also, of course, is good. You can, a lot of people, especially like higher MMR players that like we're all learning from at all times, is they do go both Shadowblade and Blink. I generally don't find myself doing that, but that's also just because I'm not good enough. I feel like I'm just terrible at Shadowblade. I find this every time. I'm just bad at Shadowblade. Like it's just not a hero that I work well with. Like, some people are just bad with Armlet. Or some people are just like bad with BKBs. Yeah. They just waste their BKB all the time. I'm like that with Shadowblade. Like it just incites me to throw and do bad things.
I think I've witnessed that before.
Yeah, it's like on Slark, I'd rather have Blink than a Shadowblade. Because like I'm a really good player with Blink daggers. And I'm a really good player with 4 staves. But I'm just a god-awful player with Shadowblades. So I generally don't do that. Oh, I'm great with Glimmer Capes. That's like the superior Shadowblade. Yeah. Okay. I can handle it. Just barely. But yeah. And then, again, it's a lot of these branching paths on LCs. Like, all right, you need to decide, do I go BKB or do I go Aghanim Scepter?
I often struggle with itemizing on her sometimes.
Yeah, most people do. Sometimes you'll go Halberd. Halberd's quite good. But, again, if you have a Blade Mail, it's kind of, like, antithetical to Halberd, right? If you have a blade mail, you want them to be hitting you so that you're dealing their damage back to them. But if you have a halberd, you have all that evasion, which means they're hitting you less, which means they're returning less damage to themselves. So, that's a bit not good. That being said, some of these games you need it. Like if the enemy team has an OD, sure, like you can duel him, but more importantly, you want to, like, let's say, duel like a really important team fight support, and then you just halberd the OD and he can't do anything to you. The late game is where this itemization gets even harder, but this question was about mid game. So again, I think to summarize, I would say mid-game LC is all about hitting your stride and being very oppressive and taking away. You want the enemy team to be scared at all times, essentially. That's like really the key. It's kind of like playing a mid-game Nyx, where you want to be smoking around the map, finding duels. Every duel you get should lead into something if it's on a core. If you duel like a lion, maybe that doesn't lead into a tower, whatever. But if you duel an AM, you should go take a tower. If you duel an OD and kill him, you should go take a tower. If you duel a Viper and kill him, you should take a tower. You don't want to just be in this rut where, like a lot of LC games, you see people lose LC games where they have like 500 duel damage. I've myself have lost multiple LC games where I've had like hundreds and hundreds of duel damage. That's because you get that duel damage, but duel damage doesn't win games, right? Objectives win games. And those duels are more of a tool to kill people and then take objectives than they are to get duel damage in a lot of cases. That's why, like, if you duel somebody, whether they die or not in the duel, as long as they die after the duel, that was worth it. Obviously, ideally, you get your duel damage, but in a lot of cases, that's not duel damage, and, such is life. As long as you kill them, that's good.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big, common thread that you see in, like, lower MMR Legion games. I don't know about higher MMR, but it's just people trying to farm items before farming duels. They think that farming up their, they don't like work. Usually they were trying to do it by themselves and they don't work with the team to get early duels. But that's when she's strongest because she's scariest when she can pin someone down and then work with like one other person and take out a support, Yeah. And then you use that to get your next item and then your next objective. Yeah.
It's a lot of it is opportunism. Like you have to... Obviously, this is difficult. It's very game specific, but you have to, once you get that first item, whether it's a blink or an armlet or whatever, that's when you say, all right, I'm going to coordinate with my teammates and we're going to get a couple duels and transition that into map control because we're going to like duel the mid laner and then we're going to kill him and then we're going to take the mid tower. Then we're going to go up and we're going to duel the safe laner and we're going to kill him and take his tower. And then we're going to be able to place aggressive wards. And then whenever they leave, we'll smoke and we'll duel somebody. That's a real like tempo that you want to be suited to when you're playing LC. That is difficult if you lose tempo. That's when you lose as LC frequently, is like if you are not able to get those duels, it's not so much like, oh, I don't have duel damage. More of it is just like, oh, I don't have the map kind of freedom to get duels. Yeah, presence. So yeah, you want to coordinate for early duels, and then once you have that second item, a lot of times you can get pick-off duels if that is a big item like a Desolator or a Blade Mail or an Armlet. And then your third item is generally to support you in your efforts, so that, because like by your third item timing, that's when the game is much more 5-manny. So you want to be building a BKB or an Aghanim Scepter in this kind of game. Generally, I prefer BKB than Ags because like you play LC as an offlaner, not as a mid laner or a safe laner. In general, mid LC is honestly not that bad. I kind of like it, but I would not frequently be playing it. But in general, you are not going to be dealing enough damage to be suited to Aghanim Scepter. You're going to want to have a a BKB. That way you have the benefit of Aghanim Scepter in that you are resistant to magic spells, but you also, that allows your teammates to be killing people with you. And of course you can get killed by the enemy, but that's, that's the risk you take. I think that's the gist of it, is just, play a lot of map pressure, get early duels, and then get coordinated duels and parlay that into objectives. All right, let's see. Let's maybe do one more quick question from New Guy before we close out. All right. Let's see. Okay, so he asked when to get boots or a windlace as a starting item. So this is mostly a question for offlaners and 4 positions and 5 positions. Very rarely, aka almost never, do you open with boots or a windlace on mid laners or safe laners. Are there any heroes that you find yourself opening on with boots on frequently? We'll talk about boots before we talk about windlace, so we'll separate them.
Techies.
Oh God. I did just have a really good techies on my team, so I can't be too disappointed. But
I lost my last techies match in 22 minutes.
Good. I no sympathy for techies players.
Yeah.
Are there any other heroes though?
Other heroes, like maybe like a position 4 Shadow Shaman or something.
Okay, yeah, if you're allowed to be a little greedy, like if you're
if I'm playing like a greedier Shadow Shaman, yeah, because he's so slow.
Yeah, that's fair. And then are there any heroes you start Windlace on?
Windlace, if I will do that on Lion, if I'm not like, if I have a support that's splitting
if you have
with
the money
me,
for it.
Yeah, because that's really helpful to set up for like controlling the lane, and just like that little boost of speed can help you really zone people safely. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Those are the first ones that come to my mind.
Yeah, so I don't have a tremendous amount of heroes that I start Windlace on. I think maybe Kunkka, if I'm playing Kunkka as a 4 and I don't have to buy like a Sentry or a Smoke, I can generally afford that. Because I'll get like Windlace and a set of Tangos and then 2 Clarities. And I think I could do that in a Smoke. I can't remember. I don't do math. So I find myself starting Windlace on Kunkka. But other than Kunkka, I don't really start Windlace on anybody. Generally, I find myself too poor because like you generally, a lot of times you want to start with a Sentry Ward. And that means that, you know, one support is buying Courier and both Obs. And then the other support, sure, you can afford to go Boots and 2 Clarities and Tangos. But more appropriately, you should probably be, or no, you can get Boots. Oh, God, whatever. You can get Boots and you can get, if you don't get Boots, then you can get a Sentry and a Smoke. But there's no possible way you have a Sentry and a Smoke if your other support did not or did buy all the items. Unless they just have nothing at all. So, yeah, that's kind of my position in general is I'd like to have Boots, but frequently I don't find myself having Boots. The only hero I start Boots on is like, I'll start Boots. I'm just looking at my recent games to think like who I started Boots on. I start Boots. Night Stalker is a nice start Boots on. That being said, I'd rather start with the Orb of Venom. Bane is in a similar situation to what you were talking about with Lion. Sometimes on Bane, if I have another 5 with me, I think this game I had a Shadow Shaman on my team. And he just bought all the items. So I started Boots, and then we had easy Nightmare kills at level 1 because I was just way faster than everybody.
Yeah.
It can be handy. It's hard to find the opportunity to build Boots because a lot of times you just don't have the money for it. Offlaners that I start Boots on, the nice thing about starting offlaners with Boots is that you can do the offlane pull much more easily. That's where you intercept the first creep wave and you bring it back to your tower, and it forces the enemy safe laner on her tower. Something like if you watch Captain's Draft and you watch other, or if you watch high tier pubs, that's like something that's common and it's slowly trickling down. I'm just starting to see it in my bracket, like. I shouldn't say just starting to, but it has recently come into vogue in our bracket and gradually it's working its way down. It's really, really hard to play against. I'll say that much. It's really effective, and I think it'll get nerfed somehow.
Probably.
Or it'll just, the only reason, like, I won't go too deeply into it, but it's a tactic that people used to do that has come back into vogue because creeps are worth so much money now. They're worth so much XP now. So people didn't do it before, and also offlaning has gotten harder. So nowadays, if you start Boots, you can much more easily execute that pull with a lot more safety because you're just way faster than all the enemies. But in that same vein, if you're starting Boots, then you don't have a Stout Shield. So I'd start Boots if I was playing like, I think the offlane Dark Willow that I played against started Boots in the game that I just played. If I was starting with an offlaner like Tidehunter, I might start Boots just to be super fast and get that pull done. But it really limits your ability to have a ton of regen when you have Boots at the start. So, be a bit careful when you're going about that. Yeah. So it's rare, honestly. That's kind of the conclusion, is that if you can start Boots, maybe go for it, but you probably shouldn't. Like, you probably should be buying a Sentry Ward. You probably should be buying a Smoke. I think we can call it quits. Peach, any closing thoughts on your first episode of Teach Me Tuesday in a while. Also, thank you for standing in. It was very helpful.
Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure. I'm happy to stand in and help out whenever you need me to. Or if, fourth spiriters want me on the show. Feel free to ask.
We'll find out.
Request. Yeah, they're going to be like, please don't. Please don't. If I have to hear I'm losing control of my raptor one more time.
Yep.
Yeah, anyways.
All those people are like, man, Peachy flamed me in pubs and now she's on fourth spirit. This is...
I thought this was a non-toxic Discord.
Yeah. It's like if you get flamed by a caster and then you see them in your pub and you're like, oh man, I can't believe I ran into X, Y, and Z person and they flamed me and now I hate Toby One so much
now.
Or whatever. Yeah.
No, it's been great. I appreciate. I did learn a lot. I'm gonna actually try to calibrate. Maybe
You're
this
still
week.
not calibrated?
Yeah, I know.
Not even party?
Not even party. I think I'm like 2 games away from party ranked calibration. But yeah, I need to calibrate. I've been putting it off. I've been finding other things to do. But yeah, I'm gonna try to calibrate this week, and I'm gonna do my best to. I might try to carry my way to calibration, but we'll see. I usually am comfortable with the off lane, but I don't know. I'm feeling Spectre, and I've been feeling PL lately too.
Oh yeah, PL's fun. I don't play too much PL recently, but PL's definitely fun. He's just in a weird place.
Yeah.
Prad's life goal is to make PL work again, but it's not going so well because the here's just awkward.
Yeah.
But that's another tangent for another episode.
That's another tangent for the next time I'm on the show.
Let's do some plugs. All right. So you can find all our podcasts at fourthspirit.com if you prefer to listen to us on a website. You can also support us through patreon.com/fourthspirit or just through leaving an iTunes review or also just telling a friend. Telling a friend is one of the super valuable ways to support us. We appreciate it very, very much. You can find our Discord, discord.gg/fourth. All these things are spelled out FOURTH, not numerical. What else is there? Our Twitter is at Fourth Spirit. Peach is at Leafy Peachy. I am at Ursinity. And Proud is at Proud Dota. B-Dub is at AUP B-Dub. I don't have any other Twitters to plug, I guess. Let's see. What else is there? I'm sure there's a bunch of things. I always forget something. Our sponsors for today were Pugna, of course, PVGNA, and then Unicorn, UNIKRN, that you heard about earlier. And Peachy's probably confused as I say this because I forgot to do those earlier, but our He Who Shall Not Be Named has fixed that, and he's put them in post, so it's all good.
Nice.
What else? I don't have any other plugs. This has been Teach Me Tuesday. Thank you very much again, Peach, for coming on and
Absolutely.
Being a co-host. And goodbye, everybody. Hopefully, we've all learned a little bit about ourselves, a little bit about Dota 2, a little bit about each other. Goodbye.